from a credibility perspective, that's what you can do. But then to also bring in the likability factor in terms of how it influences decision making. You see, when people listen to you, they listen and they hear friendliness. They listen and they hear realness. As they listen, they can feel the empathy. Likability, so when you speak, people believe what you're saying or not. So that's about the relevancy piece. And again, linked to relevancy, they put a value on what you're saying. Again, relevancy. So, in our module 2, the second building block of the Book Yourself Solid sales process is building your sales cycle. You see, if you think about this logically, this is the linchpin. So we're talking about our 6 core self-promotion strategies. We're talking about having our foundation. We're building trust and credibility. You see, as people become aware of us, they need to be able to come into a sales cycle. So this really is the linchpin of the Book Yourself Solid system. What you want to do is you want to lead people into your sales cycle process. And how you do that is by applying the 6 keys to creating connection. Now, as you're creating the 6 keys to creating connection, we also have to think of the 6 core self-promotion strategies. And what you're trying to do here is you're trying to build your own trust building cycle within the system. So, building trust, this is about creating a human bond. Like, purchasing decisions, there's an emotional part to purchasing decisions. And as you lead people into your sales cycle process, it's all about adding value. And really what we're trying to do here is we're trying to turn strangers into friends, and we're trying to turn friends gradually into clients. And so most people think of sales as a funnel. So you put people in the top, you put them all down through the layers of the funnel, and you squash them out at the bottom, and you sell them something. But we like to think of sales not as a funnel, but a cycle, where there's multiple entry points, so they can jump in. Do you know, some people, when you create awareness as part of the trust building process, they might just opt in for a free product. Somebody else might need a mid-range product. They, based on your foundation and the trust and credibility you've already built through your awareness process, they might jump in and buy a mid-range product. Do you know, other people will come in and they get a free product for 6 months, and then they might jump onto a top level product. So what we want to do here is we want to design sales cycle. And so the trust building cycle, there's a couple of key points to this. The first one is that you have a no barrier to entry offer. This is where somebody can interact with you, building trust with no risk. As they progress down the sales cycle, well, your next offer might be low cost, low risk offer. And as they go lower down, it might be a higher price, higher risk offer, and higher and higher and higher. So that's the basic sales cycle. You come in up here with a no barrier to entry, with low risk, low cost, low risk, higher price, higher risk, higher, higher, higher. It depends. Everybody's sales cycle is different. Some people will only have 3 or 4 products. More people could have 10 or 12 products. It depends on your business and the business you've designed. As you're thinking about this sales cycle process, you need to think about the 6 keys to creating connection. So, key number 1 is, who is your target client? Key number 2 is, what are they looking for and why do they buy? Key number 3 is, where do they look for you? Key number 4, when do they look for you? Key number 5, why should they choose you? Key number 6, how do they find you and how do you want them to engage with you? So, depending on the risk, depending on the amount of trust you have, your sales cycle has to take into account those 6 keys to creating connection. Now, as well as considering the 6 keys to create connection, we also need to have one eye on our 6 core self-promotion strategies. So it's the awareness, they create the awareness. It's the sales cycle that turns them from strangers into friends and then into clients. So we have to see how the sales cycle process interacts with our networking strategy, our direct outreach strategy, our referral strategy, speaking strategy, writing strategy, and web strategy. So practically, how do you design your own trust building cycle? 3 levels at a minimum. There needs to be, at a minimum, at the highest level, a no barrier to entry. And this is something where they always have something to invite people to offer. So this is about, if you're in service, you demonstrate credibility straight away. And this is about having something consistent that you can always invite people to. So no barrier, low cost, low risk, and then onto a higher price. Get very, very clear about what your objective is at each stage of the cycle. So, what's an appropriate strategy at each stage? And it's always about remembering the key that underpins the entire Book Yourself Solid system. It is about making appropriate sales offer based on the amount of trust that you have built. If you try to make too high a risk offer before you have the trust, that's not congruent. So if you've designed your own trust building cycle, if you're clear about what your objective is at each stage of the sales cycle, if you use the 6 keys of connection, essentially what you've done is you've created your business model. The third building block of building trust and credibility is your keep in touch strategy. There are 4 parts in here. You use your client relationship management software to collect and connect. You use the 80-20 rule to develop content. You then deliver your content using the best tools for you. And the 4th part is about using e-signs to build your list and position yourself as an expert. So from a client relationship management tools, there's loads of them out there. Just pick one that works. As you're collecting, where are you collecting people from? Within Module 2, Lesson 6, we're looking here for the sales cycle process. Within the self-promotion strategies, when you do your networking, are you collecting people? As you seek referrals and get referrals, are you connecting? So segment people into their groups and tag them for future reference. You see, and client relationship management software, that's grand having a database. But this is about the connection. This is about the keep in touch piece. So you need to keep meaningful contact, something that's comfortable for you and rewarding for them. And when I talk about the 80-20 rule, what I'm talking about here is that for your keep in touch, 80% of your keep in touch content has to be helpful information, relevant information, knowledge, experience that will benefit them. Only 20% of your keep in touch content can be offerings in terms of products and services or show and tell. When you're keeping in touch, look, it's up to you how you feel best will keep in touch with your target market. So that could be printed or mailed newsletters, it could be email newsletters, social media, phone calls, direct mail, anything that keeps in contact, but it's for you to choose. So looking here at your keep in touch strategy, the 4 parts: collect and connect, use the 80-20 rule to develop content, and then deliver your content by choosing the right tools for you to do so. And with the likes of email newsletters and e-signs as a very good way to build your list and establish yourself as an expert. The 4th part of building trust and credibility is your information product strategy. Obviously, the Book Yourself Solid system goes into an awful lot more detail about this, but the 4 basic steps are to just define your product. There are 5 steps in there for developing your product, and then the creation followed by a 3-step sequence to launching a product. You see, when you're developing information products, it's about identifying what are the red hot benefits that people will get out of this product. Having defined your product and what it is, well then taking the 5 steps to developing the information product. So that's about you choosing, well, what role are you playing? Choosing the product framework, choosing a title that sells, building up your table of contents, and then actually creating the content. When you've developed your information product, well then there's a 3-step formula in Book Yourself Solid for launching it. So the pre-launch phase, the launch phase, and then the often forgotten and sometimes undervalued post-launch phase. Okay, so let's look at the summary so far. So where are we? Well, Module 1 is your foundation with 4 pillars. Red Velvet Road policy, why people buy what you're selling, your personal brand identity, and then how to talk about what you do. Killing the elevator speech, not sounding bland, boring or confusing. The Module 2 summary, building trust and credibility, 4 building blocks. Credibility and likability, developing and building your sales cycle process, developing a keep in touch strategy, and then using information products. Module 3, only 2 parts. Perfect pricing and super simple selling. When it comes to pricing, we have to factor in straight up that there's elasticity in pricing. This is not a defined science. Do you remember I talked about one of my underlying themes to Book Yourself Solid? About thinking big? When it comes to pricing, you need to think big. You see, the price is what you pay. The value is what they get. So people express their values through what they buy. Don't limit yourself when you think about price. There are 12 pricing models in here, and then there's pricing incentives that you can apply. So there's a huge choice here within these 12 pricing models. I'm not going to go through them all. Ranging from the time for money trade, fixed price for a preset result, maybe flexible pricing, bundle pricing, penetration pricing, prestige pricing. So there's 12 pricing models in here, depending on your product, your service, your strategy at a point in time, and what you're trying to achieve. You pick a pricing model that works for you. And you see, you then, having picked your pricing, you need to match it to an appropriate pricing model. So that again comes back to the strategy and where you are at a given point in time. Are you about maximizing your long-term profits? Are you about maximizing your short-term profits? Are you trying to gain market share? Or maybe, even in the recent past, are you just trying to survive? And if you're book solid, maybe your pricing strategy is merely about just to do good. So 12 pricing models, matching here to what is your objective, and then to look at, discounts and incentives, and discounts and specials that give people extra incentives. So this is the likes of quantity discounts, cash discounts, seasonal discounts, and using markdowns and time-sensitive discounts. The pricing section is huge, but if you've built your foundation, if you've built trust and credibility, and you've designed your sales cycle process, pricing doesn't need to be all that complicated. Selling is an interesting one, and this is one where oftentimes in service businesses there's an element of resistance. But the Book Yourself Solid marketing and sales system, it's not so much about selling as it is about having a conversation. So, through our 6 core self-promotion strategies, we create an awareness of what we offer. They step onto our foundation, and we're given the opportunity to earn trust. Our sales cycle builds trust and credibility, and then you're invited into a sales conversation, at which stage you book the business. So there's 4 steps here to super simple selling. Step 1, let go of your limiting beliefs. Step 2, use the book yourself solid paradigm of sales. Step 3, use a 4-part formula in your sales conversation. And step 4, trash the pitch of the day and don't be a sleazy salesman. If we've followed all the steps so far, we don't need to be that sleazy salesman. You see, the book yourself solid paradigm of sales, and this is core to the entire system. You've established trust. So the paradigm of sales is that you have the right amount of trust to make the right offer just at the right time. So you're going to have shared your red hot benefits, and you're going to have identified the problems that you have solved. So looking at this 4-part sales conversation, part 1 of this 4-part sales conversation is, what do they need? So for example, like, what are they working on? What is their goal? When do they need to achieve it by? Part 2, what does success look like for them? How will they know when they've achieved success? What are the results they will have achieved? What are the feelings? What will they have? Having established what they need, having established what success looks like, well then you ask them, do they want help? And if and when they say yes, would you like me to be that person? You see, and part 4 is important because part 4 is about telling them that they're an ideal client and arranging when to meet. So this is about saying to them, you are someone with whom I can do my best work. You possess the qualities that allow me to do my best work, and list those qualities for them. You see, this is about differentiating between, are you someone who deals with everyone with a checkbook and a pulse, or do you actually care? You see, if you can show that you understand them as people and their wants and needs, it's transformational. It's not selling. When was the last time they were given a compliment? You see, trashing pitch of the day and not being a sleazy salesman, this is just about listening. Listening. Let them tell you what you want. Cut the crap out of selling and make relevant sales offers that are proportionate to the amount of trust that you have earned. You're using the red velvet rope policy, so you're safe. So where are we now? So our foundation, 4 pillars. Building trust and credibility, 4 building blocks. We've now looked at perfect pricing and super simple selling. You're ready to get book solid. So now into the 6 core self-promotion strategies. What most people start with, we end with. Remember, marketing doesn't get you clients. Marketing gets you awareness. So awareness, onto your foundation, opportunity to earn trust. We price appropriately, and we have a simple sales conversation. So the 6 core self-promotion strategies. 3 are mandatory, 3 are optional. The mandatory, networking, direct outreach, referrals. The optional, the speaking strategy, the writing strategy, the web strategy. And I can almost see the furrowed brows, and you're saying, web strategy? That surely can't be optional. Now remember, we've covered off on the basic website as part of our standard credibility builders. I'm talking about something deeper as a web strategy. The book yourself solid system is crammed with information. This is a substantial section. So obviously I don't have time in 45 minutes to go into heavy detail here. But you see, like with any strategy, a key thing is to avoid overwhelm. So with your 3 optional strategies, why they're optional is you don't have to do speaking, you don't have to do writing. If you love it, do it. If you love speaking like I do it. And so you pick Do you know, a basic website is essential, but what about search engine optimization and social media? Do what works for you.